freaking important.
Right, and we have Craig, the Obamacare lawyer, joining us for the first time in probably too long. But Craig, how are you, sir?
I am well. How are you, gentlemen?
Good. Listen, we have fairly limited time, about 10 minutes, barely. So let's dive right into it. Where are we now with American healthcare?
Well, U.S. healthcare is now more expensive than ever. Remember the passage of Obamacare. There were two promises. A, we're going to cover more people. B, we're going to help to bend the cost curve down.
That's right. The Affordable Care Act, Craig.
Yeah, exactly. We did cover more people. There's still debate on how many more. It looks like that number is probably in the 12 to 14 million more people range.
And what did that cost us?
Oh, that cost us a lot. In fact, one study I was just reading noted that if you just looked at the 3 years of 2014, 15, and 16, the amount of money the federal government spent was $341 billion just subsidizing individual coverage in the exchanges. But during those 3 years, they only got 1.7 million more people in the exchanges, which, if you do the math, it works out to you could have given those people $50,000 a year for 3 years. They could have spent $20,000 of that buying a really, really nice healthcare plan for them and their family. And then they could have bought a very nice car with the remaining $30,000 for each of those 3 years.
Great. Super. Good use of the taxpayers' money, hard-earned money.
Overall, I think you were probably asking overall. I just thought that was interesting. Overall cost is somewhere around $1.75 million, but that's likely to balloon well over, trillion. That's likely to balloon well over $2 trillion if we keep things going the way they're going.
So if you're going to be completely fair, the whole Obamacare thing, it did cover some more people, so you could say that's a win, although at a ridiculous cost. Everything else is a negative, right?
Yeah, that's about accurate, Jack. And we have to remember that it covered the vast majority of those people it covered in the Medicaid expansion. And if you'll recall, there are numerous long-term university-sponsored studies on Medicaid that show, if you're on Medicaid, your health outcomes actually don't get better. In fact, some of them may get worse.
Than having no insurance.
Are so long. Yeah, the wait times are so long. There's so few doctors in it. There's debate on whether Medicaid actually makes you any better or not. And the vast majority of these people are covered on Medicaid, not in the Obamacare exchanges.
One of my favorite aspects of this is that all of the vegetable eating, as you've characterized it in the past, all of the how we're going to pay for this have been rolled back because the politicians don't have the balls to tell us, look, you got to have your vegetables if you're going to have a big chocolate cake of Obamacare.
That's right. And now we can be bipartisan and we can blame both parties for that because obviously the overwhelming majority of the pushing off of the taxes and the mandates and the things that caused pain, that started in the first 8 years under the Obama administration. But now that we've had over a year of Trump, the same things occurred. They've repealed the individual mandate now, and Trump is doing all kinds of things to sort of undercut the law for his political reasons. But what both of these things do is make it more expensive for everybody because we will pick up the bill, whether it be in the form of higher healthcare policies or taxes, one way or the other. We all end up paying.
It's starting to sound a little like the immigration issue, which, where each side likes to do what politically makes their side happy, knowing that it doesn't fix anything, but you can blame the other side for the problems.
Right. So, Craig, the Obamacare lawyer, Craig Gottwals, is on the line, and if you need his help with benefits and health care and law and the rest of it, we'll make sure you can get in touch at the end of the segment. But, Craig, one of my favorite things you've talked about, the further you get from the free market, whether you go all the way to a Soviet system or you have the crony capitalism we have right now in healthcare, where it's all about rent seeking, which is a term that means figuring out how to game the system. Tell us about what companies are doing now that they've gotten the complex laws under their belt, they've comprehended them, and now not helping the consumers and not letting the consumers make choices. They're now gaming the system.
Well, one of the most insidious things within Obamacare is that there's a price fixing mandate. So there's a rule deep within Obamacare that all of us in the industry and the insurance companies know well that says, look, an insurance company, the simplest form is to say an insurance company may charge 15% more than claims. So once I tally up all the claims I pay in a given state in a given year, I, as an insurance company, can add 15% to that as my margin, and that's my premium. So what's happened is insurance companies have realized, well, it's in our best interest for the claims to go up. There's no incentive to keep costs down. It'd be like if you told a little kid, you can only have a piece of this pie that's 1/5 of the pie. The kid says, well, grow the damn pie, right? So that's what's happening in insurance is we have this price fixing. And so all of the insurers, they no longer if there's fraud in the system, if claims are bloated, they don't care, because that just means they can charge their 15% that they get to keep is more. And all of these things we see, all the gaming of the system, all the people that jumped into the exchanges for a month or two, which, by the way, in California, specifically in our exchange, they showed that 50% of the people didn't even keep their Obamacare policy for an entire year because they jumped in, they got the care they needed, and they jumped out. Well, that drives claims up, insurers get to charge more, and we all pay for that in the form of higher premiums and in tax subsidies that are going to the insurance companies.
And all of the free market incentives to keep costs down have been removed. Beautiful.
Totally removed because now, again, when you say to the public, we're going to pass a law that means that insurance companies can no longer keep anything more than a 15% margin, people go, hey, that sounds great. But the perverse side effect is, that now they can just bloat claims. There's no fraud detection anymore. They don't care because if claims are higher, their 15 points get higher.
Is your best prediction
mandate?
Is your best prediction still that we're somewhere within a decade of ending up with single-payer socialized medicine?
Yes. Unfortunately, that is my best prediction. That I would say I wouldn't even say by 20, I'd say by 2028, 10 years, Jack, we're going to have some form of socialization. My favorite single statistic that we've talked about on this show, and I don't think we can repeat it enough, because it happens to come from the UCLA Health Policy, which, again, far from a right-leaning organization, right? The UCLA Health Policy Index. 70% of all healthcare in the state of California is funded by taxpayers. That would be cobbling together Medicare, Medicaid, the VA, all anything that a taxpayer funds. And if you look at other states, you say, well, California is an exception. It's still between 60 and 65% in all states.
Well, then, wow. Then we're almost there.
You're almost there.
In the back door. Yeah.
That's
How about that?
Unbelievable. How many people know that? Practically nobody.
Practically nobody. And that study came out in 2016, guys. So they haven't updated it. I'd be dying to know what it is now.
Might be 80%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Certainly 75.
And just because this is my thing. So you find out the insurance companies are gaming the system. Everybody's costs, your costs, Mr. and Mrs. America, and your little kids, and you're struggling, and you're wondering if you can pay your bills. Your costs are getting jacked up higher and higher and higher, while the crony capitalists work with the crony big government. And you keep thinking big government's going to solve your problems. And what the hell was my point going to be?
I got a point if you can't remember.
Go ahead, make a point.
So
somebody ought to make a point.
Here's what I think is we've become socialized medicine on the sly and can't talk about it out loud because they're trying to sneak it in. Once we all accept that we're there, that's when we're going to start ordering each other on how to live because we're all paying for it. And that's when you're going to really get you can't be this far overweight, you can't drink that much, you can't drive that fast, whatever, because I'm paying for your health care. And that's coming.
That's right. And on that slide toward socialism, I don't know if you guys mentioned it on your show, but
Craig, we have like 30 seconds. Fire away.
Dianne Feinstein just came out in the last 2 days and says she is now authoring bills to bring Medicare down to the age of 55 as opposed to 65. So there's another that you're going to see Democrats.
They're going to reform it backward. My point was going to be is that the bureaucrats realize they're being gamed. They're always 6 months to 6 years behind the gaming in the system. They'll meet again next year and come up with a solution. The insurance companies will take 2 days to undo it. Craig, how do people get a hold of you if they need help with benefits, that sort of thing?
The easiest way is to just Google Craig Gottwals or Benefit Revolution.
Or email us.
Revolution.com. Or email you guys. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.